Well, Dave, our first time back together in 2023 after an explosive, a dynamic, revolutionary year for WWE, and here we are talking about Vince McMahon. What the heck is going on?
Well, he's back as chairman.
Yeah, that was it. So this happened on Thursday night. The story got out from the Wall Street Journal, and then all of a sudden the releases started coming out from Vince's side with his intent to come back to the board. Friday morning, we found out that he was in fact elected back on. George Barrios, Michelle Wilson are also there now. Is this the WWE of old coming back in full swing, do you think, or is this strictly business?
Not exactly.
Okay.
I mean, how it it's like nobody really knows how it's going to wind up. Nothing is changing other than Vince is there to basically sell the company,
Right.
and and sell it to the people. He wants to sell the company as opposed to them selling the company without him having input into the sale. That's the public story. Everybody else, Stephanie and Nick are going to still run the company. He's not going to run the company. Paul's going to still run creative. He's not going to run creative. That's the public story. How long that once he's in for a while, how long that stays becomes a very different question. And then also based on, sale's going to take a while, to get to go through. I mean, it's not going to happen in like a week or anything, but down the line, with the sale and everything, how that all transpires and how everything falls out, I mean, nobody knows. So it's a lot of uncertainty. But obviously Wall Street's very, very excited because it's the first time that, they've heard the word sale, and sale means that the stockholders are going to get a big, are going to get a lot of money, more than the market value of the thing when it is sold, and they won't be shareholders anymore, but they're going to get a big return. So there's a lot of excitement in Wall Street about, hey, we can go in here, and when this thing sells, we're going to make a big return on our investment. So that's why the stock's way up. And but I mean, as far as everything is uncertain, you've got the new TV deal, and obviously, it makes all the sense in the world for NBC Universal to buy the thing and to get SmackDown back from Fox. And I mean, there's a lot of ways this thing can go. And supposedly Vince is not involved in anything but the sale. But the key to the sale too is if he wants to be in charge and he sells, I mean, he can work in like, hey, I'm selling, but I'm still going to be in charge. As opposed to if somebody else sells, Vince is done, because then he'll never get back in because he's not the lead shareholder anymore. So that's the basics. I think that's the basic situation. But I mean, I think the key is that on December 27th, which is not all that long ago, the board had a meeting about, because Vince tried to get back in, and they voted like, whatever it was, 11-0 or 12-0 against him. And that includes Stephanie, Nick, and Paul, who now we're welcoming him back. So I think that there's a little bit of a deal there that, hey, we're not going to have a big public fight. I'm taking over, but you guys can keep your job. And now you got, so 5 members of the board are gone. Three were replaced by Vince. 2 quit this morning. So, those were the people who voted against him being let back in. And there we are.
So I guess the question is that if this thing takes too long, I've talked to some people who have been around Vince in their time, and you've obviously kept track through the decades as well. If this sale doesn't happen within the next few months or so,
well, it probably won't happen that quick. I mean,
let me ask you this though: is a board Vince a dangerous Vince in this? Like, is this a case where he's sitting on top? He's like, maybe I'll just come check out TV a couple times a week here, and
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, like the longer this thing goes, I mean, Vince is back. His fingerprints are going to be there. He may not jump in right away, but he's going to have far more influence than he had before, and and he can hire and fire people. So, that's everything is like they're basically going to tell everyone that nothing has changed other than Vince is there to facilitate a sale. But I'm sure at first nothing will change. But, like you said, 6-9 months down the line, I think everything will be changed. It'll be back to the old company.
Wow. That's interesting call. That's a prediction, right? I mean, that could be anything, right? But
anything can happen. But I mean, the deal is, but once it's sold, then everything changes again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the problem with there's a million things that are going to happen with the sale, and one of them is that the people who buy it, with job redundancy and things like that, there's going to be a lot of office cuts, and who knows, like the people who are put in charge like what their mentality is going to be. But yeah, I mean, eventually everything is going to be changing drastically, whether it's a year from now or 9 months from now or 18 months from now. I mean, there are no changes per se today, but there are absolutely going to be huge changes, and what they are, nobody knows down the line.
How much money do you think WWE? I mean, has there even been an estimate thrown out yet as to how much this could sell for, and whether or not there would be a bidding war maybe between a Fox and an NBC or any other major studio company or network and NBC
Amazon or Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of prospective buyers. I mean, UFC got 4, and so
billion,
I think
you're saying, yeah.
4 billion.
Yep.
I mean, the WWE stock right now is probably well over 6 billion as of a Friday morning. So you're talking probably 7-8 billion in that range, which is it's a high price. But if you're NBC or Fox, the value of the programming, it kind of pays off in about 8 years, 9 years. So 9, something like that, your sale price, and now you own it. So for NBC, but then NBC, where's NBC going to be in 9 years? I mean, nobody knows about TV. That's the crazy thing about it. That's
right.
That's one of the reasons why this is probably the right time to sell, because 2 or 3 years from now, who knows what the market's going to be like, the media market. There's a lot of people in it right now. But the media market may weed itself out because the price of being in the media market is so high, and the returns are not as guaranteed as they've been for decades. It's just a crazy time right now.
And then there is the competition from streaming platforms where Amazon seems to have limitless resources.
Sure.
Other ones like Netflix have famously ran on deficits for the longest time, with the plan to recoup as time goes on. Where do you think, as you follow wrestling fans, I mean, a lot of wrestling fans aren't afraid to find streaming, but wrestling has always been kind of the TV stronghold as well throughout all the editions of medium, no matter what, whether it was streaming, whether it was even just regular internet broadcasting, whether it was pay-per-view. Wrestling was always kind of the most easily accessible thing to watch. Do you think that TV has a better chance of winning out over these streaming services because of that?
No.
Wow.
I mean, I think NBC probably would want it the most, but but I don't think there's any favorites, put it that way. It can go to streaming, and it'll be fine because they'll make their money from their rights fees. No matter what, they're going to have that exposure. And if the live gates are down because less people are watching, I mean, it doesn't matter because their money is being made on the rights fees. And I mean, as far as if one of these conglomerates buys the thing, I mean, they may just go with the idea of, what are we in the house show business for? We don't make any money on it, or we don't make enough money on it. And if they stop making money on it, they'll just cut it out. I mean, like whereas Vince would always want to do it, and some of the talent would want to do it. It's like, why are we even wasting our time on this part of the business? Why are we wasting our time on these other parts of the business? All we want is content for our streaming service or for our television station.
Well, that seemed to be the Vince approach before he left, obviously. But now, I mean, the house show schedule is in pretty full swing, and ticket numbers are on the up, which is good to see for wrestling in general. AEW is in the position now where they're struggling. We'll talk about them in a few minutes, but I think overall that the biggest shock to me would be that there would need to be some subscription involvement to watch even the most baseline of WWE programming. And I mean, they tried it with their own network.
I think that they would try not to do that. I mean, as far as like if a streamer, but I just don't know where the media stuff is
right.
going. I think that they would want to have, your 5 free hours or 7 free hours a week, and then everything else, the premium content. But even the premium content, the price isn't so high right now on Peacock. So, and Peacock's, they're a big part of Peacock's growth. So,
right.
So, I mean, that's why I think, again, like I can really see NBC going for the whole thing, because they can put SmackDown on NBC itself, which has now been something that's been discussed. Obviously Raw, will probably stay on USA to save USA, as long as USA is worth saving. and then Peacock will get like the next day rights and all of that other stuff. And because I think that that's what's going to happen come October is the Peacock will get the next day rights to Raw and SmackDown. And and where it would, and it makes more sense to get it on NBC, because I'm sure Fox doesn't want this show that Peacock has the next day rights to. So the Fox thing is kind of but it is a successful Friday night show in some ways for Fox. I mean, ratings wise, it's good. Advertising wise, it is not that good, but it's probably still going to be a lot more effective than anything else they're going to put on Friday night. So there's still value to Fox to the SmackDown show.
Now, Vince McMahon's return, we're talking to Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer and WrestlingObserver.com. Vince McMahon's return to the board of WWE, chairman of the board, whatever you want to say. He is now once again a figurehead in the company. There are still allegations that are coming in. There are still pending legal issues with his past sexual improprieties, allegedly. Is he basically Teflon at this point? Like, does Wall Street just not care? Do the investors not care? Do they just see this as
or is this
imaging going to be a thing?
They just see the word sale, and that's the excitement. Right. It's not Vince McMahon. The number going up is not Vince McMahon coming back. It's Vince McMahon saying sale. If Vince didn't say sale, I mean, that's the whole gimmick of the whole thing. If Vince didn't say sale, I think the price would have gone down, because people would have looked in there and go like, oh my God, there's going to be infighting. This isn't good. But with the idea that they're selling, now it's a really exciting time to buy the stock. So, yeah, that's the basic key to all this.